So this is the handover for your Elddis Accordo 125. We're going to go around the outside of the vehicle first of all, go over some fixtures and fittings, and then we'll go through the inside and the technical equipment that's installed. We'll begin down with the water filler cap. There's a group of keys with the van 9270. I made a point of making them remember the number, and that's the one that unlocks the one for the water filler. So hose pipe into the side. There is an overflow on the top of the tank, so it will kick back or start to dribble down once it's been filled. The storage, winter storage, or if you want to clean or cleanse the tank out, then there's a cold water drain point just located there, and that enables you to drain that fresh water tank out. While we're down here, there's two exhaust ports for the water heating and for the room heating system. So if they're operating on gas, you'll see some little bit of condensation plumes coming out of those. And then at the back, and already open, you've got your wastewater outlet. So that's the drain valve for draining off the grey water from the shower tray, the vanity unit, the kitchen sink, drive over a drain or a gully, or transfer it into a container if that's what you want to do. So we'll pop the water cap back in, like so, and then just give it a little quarter turn on the key, and it should spin freely, and away you go. Alongside the water inlet, you've got your toilet cassette just there. Having made sure that the cassette slider's shut properly inside, you should be able to lift up on the orange lever and slide the whole cassette out nice and neatly. These later models come with a little pull-out handle on them, so you can trundle around with it to the dump stations. Collection points on the campsites available for you to use for the black water for the toilet waste. Take the grey cap off completely, just unscrew it, right? And then as you tip up, you press in on the orange button at this end, and that should let the waste dribble out the bottom. Before you load it back in, use a base digesting chemical. It could be green, it can be blue, mixed with about 2 litres of water, cap full of your chemical. Pour that in like so, give it a little swirl round just so that it's ready to go, and then when you slide it back in, it should lock nice and neatly back into position like so. At the back, when you come to collect the van, there'll be 2 gas pumps in here, but for now we've got one 6 kilogram propane cylinder. Fairly straightforward to operate. You just turn the brass knot clockwise, anti-clockwise I should say, and that will allow the gas flow to go through. It goes straight into a regulator and straight into the systems. Right. When you're traveling, turn it clockwise to turn it off, stop any gas from obviously leaking whilst the vehicle is in motion. When you open up the offside rear locker, you've got this access panel to the leisure battery and also to the mains hookup. You pull back slightly on your blue cap, you can disconnect the main supply. You have to do a little bit of fun. Alright. Always connect to the side of your vehicle first of all, and then connect to the power supply you're going to be utilising. Don't do it the other way around because you're taking a live lead direct. Okay, nice and secure. Garage door at the back, open it up, little bonnet stay for you to make use of. You'll see that you've got 2 cabinets that you can open up on the left hand side, and there's also a drawer on the opposite section. In the cabinet nearest the back of the van, you've got your mains RCD and 12-volt fuse box. You can turn off all of the main supply by shutting down all of the blue tabs. When you reconnect, you can push up, you can do a safety test just to make sure that the main supply is safe for you to use, and then you can then come back across with all of the mains circuit switches. Over on the opposite side, you've got a pull-out drawer which will come out, and also you can take the stop gates out as well, so if you want more through space, they can easily be lifted out once the bed's been tipped up. Finally, you've got your folding table stored underneath the bed, and that can be slid out when the bed's in that position and used as the full dining table in the front. Okay. Yeah. So down by the driver's passenger door, you've got your oil filler. This outer flap isn't affected by the central locking. You just use the ignition key in, twist off, and that then gives you your access to your diesel. The AdBlue system, you can top up yourself if it's required. You'll get a warning information bulletin, as it were, come up on the dashboard telling you if it's needing to be topped up. Any AdBlue solution will do, but generally speaking it's usually done by the service agent at the point of routine servicing. Open up the passenger door. Underneath the passenger seat in the black box you've got your vehicle toolkit. Underneath the carpet you've got the access hatch to the engine battery, and at the end of the dashboard you've got your bonnet release. So pull back on that one and you can gain access into the bonnet. So to go in under the bonnet, go almost to the middle of the Lion, look for the little tab and then pull up on that. Regular bonnet stay. Over on the extreme left hand side you've got your screen wash access. All right. Your brake fluid, power steering fluid and radiator reservoirs are all accessed through these flaps. You'll need to unscrew these little tabs to gain access to those if you need to. Oil filler in the middle, and then the dipstick sat in front of it. And then over on the extreme right hand side, because the engine battery is located underneath the passenger floor, you'll need to expose this flap just here. You attach your positive onto that section with your jump leads, and the negative will go up onto this earth bolt in the center of the engine bay. Because there's an alarm fitted onto the van, you've got a pin switch under the bonnet. Right, so if once that's depressed, then obviously that seals off and shuts off the alarm. Obviously if anyone attempts to force their way into the vehicle or force open the bonnet, opens and releases and causes the alarm to go off. There are micro switches onto the doors, and I think also onto the garage door as well. So again, if anyone's forcing their way into the vehicle, as well as the ultrasonics that you have at the top of the windscreen, then that will force the alarm to go off. So when you first come into the caravan, just inside the caravan door, you've got a 12-volt control panel. We're sat into the darkness at the moment, so quickly fire up the main interior 12-volt switch and it will light up and turn on. You've got switches for the outside awning light as well as for the downlighters inside the van. Top corner, water pump, use that on demand. I would encourage you to do that purely and simply. If you go away from the van during the day, perhaps the tap is dripping or something like that, then the pump will keep working against that resistance. These two here are for measuring the condition of your leisure battery. Push and hold on it for a couple of seconds and you'll see the various illuminations come up. So that's a fully charged battery, and we put some water into this earlier. So when I press on that one, that's it full on the water supply as well. Just the cabin lights at the front, these strip lights that go around the top, come off of that main rocker switch. You've got various other light switches for furniture, kitchen units, etc. located around the van also. So you've got a tall thin cupboard that's between the kitchen unit and the fridge. Right at the very back you will see this small yellow tab. All right, it's difficult to show on a video, but at the moment that tab is facing in line with the main shape of the cabinet, which means that the drain valve for the water heater is closed. It's going to allow water to be pumped into it. I'll reach in, it will block the screen just slightly, but if it's turned through 90 degrees, you'll probably hear the pump kick in now because it's trying to discharge the water as well, but that's opening the drain valve. It's critical for winter storage that you leave the van free of water. So open up the fresh water tank, open up the wastewater tank, leave all of your interior taps open, and open up that water heater, and that will allow the whole system to drain out. It's the reverse for setting up the water heater. So fill up your fresh water tank first of all, make sure that that valve's back in that position, so in line with the cabinet, like so. And then when you come up to the taps, you want to purge the system through. So turn on your hot tap and make sure you've got that continuity of water coming through. If there's any kind of aeration or spurting, then the tank hasn't properly filled. If the tank were completely empty, it'll probably take about 2 minutes or so to come through. So we turn the gas supply on outside. If you're setting up for the gas units, then you'll need to make sure that these two are in the horizontal position. Generally speaking, most people leave these on. One is for the oven, the other one is for the fridge operation. If you rotate them through 90 degrees, then it isolates the supply to that specific unit. Turning off the gas though at the bottle is usually the safest solution. If you haven't used the gas for a while, or if you've recently changed over the gas bottles, you'll need to purge the gas through. Go for the biggest burner. The electronic igniter is down on the front of the cooker. A couple of clicks on that igniter just there, like so, and you should get a good supply of gas come through. Repeat with the back burner, repeat with the front. Right, and just make sure that you've got an even flow of gas. There's no cut-off valves on these lids, so if this lid comes down over the flame, it will continue to burn. It will shatter the glass. So make sure it's nice and cool when you first switch it off. When you're using the oven and the grill, we'll take out this little bit of non-slip matting that's there. Go anti-clockwise, push and hold in on the thermostat, fire up the igniter, and away you go with the oven. Go back to the 0 position and go clockwise, and you can fire up then on the grill. So the fridge is a 3-way fridge. Using a spirit level on one of the countertops, I would make sure that the van is as near level as possible. If the fridge is on any kind of angle, only maybe by a couple of degrees, it does affect its performance and how it works. 3-way means that you can operate it in a mains mode. So you turn it to the first position around about 1 o'clock on the dial, and you adjust your thermostat accordingly. The thicker the line, the colder the fridge will become. When you're traveling from A to B, it can only go into the battery mode. It only takes a feed from the engine battery when the engine is running. And all it does is maintain the temperature within the fridge. So it assumes that the night before you travel, or when you are going to travel, that the fridge has already been chilled, perhaps by mains or by gas. When you arrive on site, if you're on mains hookup, then obviously, go straight back to the mains. But if you're going to be wild camping, then you go down to the gas position. To set it up onto gas, you need to do 3 things. First of all, push in on your thermostat. Secondly, strike the igniter. And then thirdly, watch to make sure that this little red needle has gone up into the green zone. Once it's got up into that green zone, you can take your finger off the igniter, but keep your finger on the thermostat for a few seconds just to let the thermocouple warm up, and then you can slowly release it. And as long as the needle stays in the green zone, then that's the fridge up and running on gas. To use the microwave, there's a master switch up inside the crockery cabinet. You'll get a time light come on. You can just go for a simple adjustment, and there's some auto functions that are already labeled into there. But if you want to go for the power level and then set up the clock and the timer, then you can do so on that. Press stop clear, like so. And then just a quick 30-second setup one as well. So you have a Thetford swivel bowl toilet. You can maneuver it round into whichever desired position you want. Seat up. There's a slider on the right hand side which you can pull forward, and that opens up the main wastegate. Let your wastewater go through. The flush water on this example goes through from the main freshwater tank So when you press down on the blue button with the water pump switched on, you should get a clean jet of water running around the inside. Close your slider over after use. Somebody smells or odours coming back up, and you'll see a illumination around this area indicating when the cassette is full and that it needs to be emptied. Up in the roof light, you've got a number of different types of roof lights in this van, but in the bathroom you squeeze the brown tabs in and push up, and then it can be adjusted for angle. But you must make sure as part of your departure checks that they are locked down securely before you leave. Just basic taps for the shower and for the vanity unit. There's your hot and cold water feed with a push down spring action on the plug. I won't make a mess of your shower, but you can imagine obviously it's the same for the hot and the cold water feed for the shower as well, with a nice ring jet on it. This is one of the Elddis traits. This switch here is your bathroom light. There's no bathroom light switch actually inside. So when that one's on, obviously the bathroom light is on. See, when it's off, it's off. So the table is stored underneath the fold-up section underneath the bed. You lift it out, you can fold the legs down. Those peculiar looking metal brackets, they're rotated through 90 degrees in an outward direction, and they clip into a couple of slots which are underneath the smaller occasional table in the front, and they allow then that table to be extended to give you a full seating area for 4 people. So having removed the occasional table from the front, with a small coffee table from the front, you would then reach down to the cab seats. Both cab seats have a sort of mechanism on them, so pull the handle out towards you, rotate it, make sure it's clear of the handbrake, and then having got it round, just push back on the D-bar underneath the seat to push back. Slide the bed extension, just run your finger across the edge of the carpet, and it just gives you some additional clearance, and that will pull out. So there's a little infill cushion which goes in on the seat swab like so. You take your infill cushion, and with the triangular section towards the bulkhead, just push down on both sections. You'll see I've already taken the backrest out, and then there's a memory foam mattress which unfolds across the whole lot to give you that top cover. So you've got a swing out television bracket, just pull up onto that section and pull it forward. This base plate is removable and can be screwed directly onto the back of most TVs for ease and security. Slip it back into position. Inside the locker above it, you have a telescopic area which is designed to go through the roof of the van. Unscrew the rose wheel at the top and then push up on the shaft. By twisting the shaft, there is a directional aspect to the aerial. You can look out of the roof light or look out from the side of the van to see which direction the aerial should be in. There's an adjustable gain control which is just located here, and you have a on-off switch on there, so if the red light is illuminated there should be power going through to the amplifier into the aerial, and then it comes in or out of the aerial socket up underneath. There's a mains and a 12-volt socket depending on which type of power supply you want to use for your TV. So you have 4 different types of roof lights in your van. We've already covered the bathroom one. For the central lounge space, you push in on the tab, use both hands to then guide it through the channels into various lock positions for opening or fully open, like so. It's the opposing direction to bring that roof light back down, but just make sure the grab handle pushes up behind the button to make sure that it's nice and secure. The bedroom and passageway roof lights pull down on the handle firmly so that you're releasing it on the greater track. You should be able to slide it all the way forward to your desired position. When it comes all the way back, just make sure that the plastic hooks go behind the clear plastic sections, and that way the roof light is secured. And finally, on the front roof light, you've just got a conventional handle, all right, and it will creep up. All right, if it hasn't been used for a while, they sometimes stick, but you can wind up like so. None of the roof lights allow for travelling whilst open, so you must make sure that they are fully closed before departure. All of your roof lights have various forms of blinds and fly screens on them, which are usually just a pull across system. So we have the blind on this one, and then behind it, the fly screen. Side windows, 2 latches on this particular one, and push out, and then you have an adjustable section. Just lock it into position for your desired opening point. Fly screen and your blind, and then release. Before it comes in fully closed, if you're storing the van at home, perhaps you can put it into a ventilated mode, but for departure you need to make sure that they are locked in on the innermost position. All of the side windows operate in a similar fashion. So, cab controls, straightforward ignition, pressure down onto the clutch pedal just to make sure that it starts, wait for your pre-oil coil lights to go out, and then you should just be able to turn over like so. You have a reversing camera which has a permanent image to it. If it's distracting when you're driving through the night, you can actually physically turn it off or back on. You may occasionally lose signal. It might be because you've knocked the V1, V2 button, so that causes again the image to fade away or become a blue screen. So make sure that it's in at least one of those modes, V1 on this one. Stalks around the controls are for your side lights and indicators. Below you've got your speed limiter and cruise controls, and then over on the right hand side your wiper controls for intermittent, and then down for your various speeds controls on there, and then back for your rinse. On the steering wheel you've got volume controls and telephone controls for your Bluetooth functions. Over on the driver's door you've got your mirror adjustments as well as your window adjustments. With the mirrors, all 4 mirrors can be adjusted, so just turn the toggle in the direction of the mirror you want to adjust, and then just use the joystick to move the mirror into its required position. Back towards the centre, if you're wanting to engage reverse on this one, then it's up on the collar, up, over and back, and that will allow then the reverse to be engaged. The heated rear window symbol is actually for the heated mirrors. All right, so if that's depressed, that will allow then the mirrors to be decondensed. You have a lock function for the cab doors only. It doesn't secure the caravan door. You have to lock that separately. Hazard light switch, self-explanatory. ASR is an anti-slip control system. It's permanently on. If you were to drive on this surface, for example, aggressively, then it will cause the wheels to slip. So the ASR gives you engine braking, which stops that from occurring. However, you might want to turn it off if you were driving onto, say, slippery grass or ice, so that you had direct wheel to throttle control. Ventilation. Speed of the fan is controlled on the bottom half of the dial, and your temperature control at the top. If you use it with the air conditioning, you depress in on that one, it will illuminate, and that gives you your air conditioning function. But to improve the air conditioning performance, turn the bottom of the right hand dial over so that you're recirculating that airflow, and it can be into the windscreen feet and face vents accordingly. There's USB and 12-volt charging methods there. Down on the center console, above the cup holders, there's a USB input which actually goes back into the stereo if you wanted to use other media items. clipboard on this generation pops up and you can secure documents in that manner. Over on the right hand side you've got a ventilation control. Previous owner's left his bulb kit in there as well. You've got ventilation which is coming into there. It works in conjunction with the air conditioning, so if you so wish you can keep things cold in there as well. And then a smaller glove box down at the front. You've got blinds on all of the cab windows. The passenger and driver side blinds, squeeze the tabs together, draw them all the way through. They are very delicate, so I wouldn't let the kids or the dog do it. Keep it to the adults only. And then for the central ones, again, they draw together. There's a magnetic strip on the inside edge, and when you get to the reversing rear view mirror, I should say, then these sections pull back, enabling you to join together. Just make sure that they are locked back into their position before you set off on the road, like so. So both passenger and driver's seat have got seat height adjustment on them. Pull out on the side levers and you'll see that you can raise or lower. You'll need to use your body weight in the seats to get it to lower back down again. On the armrests, they've also got wheel adjustment as well, so that you can set the height of the armrest to your desired position. Backrest is done on the main bracket. So that concludes the handover for your Elddis 125 Accordo. If you have any questions, please just pick up the phone, drop us an email. We're only too happy to answer them. We sincerely hope that it's going to give you lots of miles and lots of smiles. You want to enjoy it. So on behalf of Hire and Camper Vans, take care and enjoy your new van.